Hey, it's Jennifer Vatsa. You might not recognize this background. This is actually my kitchen workspace studio. So welcome to where the magic is created most of the time. Anyways, so I thought I would film this in my kitchen, although you can't see it because the camera's elevated. Before me, all over here is all my various essential oils and fragrances, and then to the left are all of my herbs. So what I wanted to talk about today and make this video, because I feel like this exercise is something that would be really beneficial. And part of the background noise, I have been in a very lengthy months-long project of separating my kitchen into workspace and food prep space. So the back of my kitchen is a hot mess right now. It's less of a hot mess than it was yesterday. So that's a start. So I had about a month's worth of stuff to take down to the basement. So anyways, so this video I'm calling it Shadow and Scent and Sensory Memories. So this was based on an exercise that I'd done when I was learning perfuming. And I feel like this exercise is really beneficial because there's so much that is attached to our sense of smell. And also you can hone your clairalience skills, which has to do with smell. One of the clairs that has to do with smell. So anyways, this was an exercise I did when I was in perfuming school. And it really helped me to learn how to connect better with an aroma or multiple aromas, anything that has a scent to it. So one of the things I found interesting in this is how scent and memory and feelings all go together, which can really be integral in doing shadow work. Like, I can sit here now in 2023 and tell you exactly what, all of the holiday dinners smelled like at my grandmother's house. From the coffee, like she sat on my left, so I know exactly what her coffee smelled like with the precise amount of milk and sugar. I can break down every single thing that was on the table at any given time, break it down by the collective aroma of it and how each thing smelled individually. My grandmother died in 2016. My grandfather passed in 2005. So we haven't carried on these traditions in the same way for a very long time. And she had been, it'd been many years since she was able to, prepare a full meal of that caliber for the entire family in her kitchen. But I still, to this day, remember every single thing broken down by exactly how it smells. So, and it's not something I have to really sit there and concentrate on. Like, I'm sitting here right now and I'm smelling her coffee. I'm smelling not cheesecake, it's something called cheese pie. I don't know if it's like some kind of Eastern European thing. But I could smell all these things and how they blend together, and it evokes that memory for me. And what was interesting about this is when my perfuming teacher was talking about this, she gave an example of a student of hers who had a very strong reaction to a particular type of citrus. And like, to the point she thought she was almost allergic to it. Like, it just like made her really angry, like upset, and this aroma. And there was no seeming reason why for it until she really delved back and looked at there was a traumatic memory that was associated around that smell. So sometimes when we think we don't like things, it's sometimes that it's triggering a memory of it. There was a local bar in Philadelphia I used to always refer to as Grandpa's ashtray, because that's what it smelled like, my grandfather's ashtray. But anyways, so what I wanted to talk about in this exercise is how you can really connect with, whether you want to connect with herbs, whether you want to connect with a particular aroma. I did not grab a singular herb. This is actually just a random bowl of miscellaneous herbs that got left over from things, but there's like this is helichrysum or life or everlasting. There's some roses in here, jasmine, but what I'm going to talk about today is picking out an aroma, like from my, I'll just hold this one. So this is my jasmine oil, I think. Yes, I think it's jasmine oil. I'll know when I smell it. Because I use my labels easily start rubbing off after a while from a lot of use. But so what you want to do for this exercise, you want to take a singular scent like peppermint or lemon or jasmine or cinnamon, something like that. Not something that's a blend like mixed berries or pumpkin spice or, you know, something opium or a blend, something that would be a blend of multiple things, or a proprietary kind of blend, like, you know, a perfume. You could do it with a perfume. I did a different exercise on that. But anyways, to start this, what you want to do is really like ground and center yourself, and, you know, take a few calming breaths. You know, getting into that cycle, really kind of like connecting with yourself, opening your mind, because scent is one of the earliest developed senses that we have. Like, that's how, before we can see and speak and hear, we smell our mothers and our fathers and our whoever is our birth family and that type of thing. So you want to select your aroma and just sit with it for a few moments. And pro tip, if you ever need to cleanse your nasal palate, coffee beans. If you ever wondered why perfume stores have little things of coffee beans, because it clears your nasal palate. So if you were going from this to like 20 other things, like, you'll become kind of like scent blind to it after a while. So if you ever need to clear out your smeller, coffee beans. So I have jasmine. So it's one of my favorite aromas. You probably noticed that, because I do use it in quite a few products. So when I sit with the aroma of jasmine, I'm thinking about what color it is, not what color jasmine flowers are, or the plant, or the tree. What color is the aroma? And to me, jasmine smells like a light purple, like a lilac color, lavender. But in reality, jasmine flowers are white and yellow with green leaves. So to me, that's the color that I feel when I smell jasmine. It might be entirely different from you. You might see pink, or you might see green, or with whatever plant or aroma that you're working with. So when you smell it, thinking of it in terms of temperature, like, is jasmine a cool smell, or is it hot? Is it spicy? Is it lifting, elevating, and things like that? To me, jasmine, it's kind of like a warm. It's got a little bit of warmth in it, but with like a little bit of like a cool, fresh air that comes in. And I'm sorry, my camera keeps like zooming in and out when I move. I'm trying not to do that as much. So the next thing to start focusing on is, what sound does it make? And that can lead into the second one, is what song is it, or what type of music do you hear when you think of, because smell is intangible. I can't just go like, here's what jasmine smells like. And we each have different, you know, I am a super smeller, so like things to me are much more intense than they might be to someone else. So I'll get to the super smeller thing, hopefully, if I remember towards the end of the video. So like, what sound does it make? I feel, it feels like a vintage, I'm gonna scream saying this, vintage photo from like the 1970s. I'm saying like screaming because I was born in the 70s. So think of 70s as vintage is a little cringe for me. But so is like 1990s nostalgia, but that aside. So I kind of see like a photograph that kind of has that yellowy tinge to it, those square Instamatic photos. And like, it feels summery, or like late spring, it's sunshine, and I could feel like the sound of the maybe children playing or running by in the backyard. So it's kind of got a little bit of that sort of sound to it, playful. It's a very playful sound. What song does it feel like to me? And I'm trying not to recall songs with jasmine in the title, although Clan of Zymox's Jasmine and Rose just popped into my head as I said that. But this is something that's, to me, jasmine as an aroma is more soft. Like I'm feeling more like something by Tori Amos. So thinking of it in terms like that, like what song would this be? You know, what memories do I have associated with the scent of jasmine? Is it sitting drinking a cup of jasmine tea? Is it the first time I really sat and got to know jasmine? Was it in a perfume? I don't know. I can't really pinpoint it for me, but it's just something I've always that I just connect with, that I love the smell of so much. And what emotions come up for me in that is that I feel comforted when I smell jasmine. I feel loved. I feel safe. I feel very serene and peaceful and calm. What images come to mind when you say jasmine, not focusing on like a field of jasmine flowers, but what do I think of when I say jasmine, and not what Disney princess was Jasmine? I don't have kids, so I don't remember this, and I was a little older at the time. What was that? Anyways, but what does jasmine remind me of? You know, the smell of it. Like what images are coming to mind? Like I had given the illustration before of like the backyard and the children playing, something like that. Or you might see something just very more like a crystal or a car or something like that, or a particular location, like maybe it reminds you of Paris or something. So what energy do you associate with it? Is it lunar? Is it solar? Is it positive? Is it negative? Do you feel a particular planetary full? Like I feel like jasmine is a very lunar energy to me. The other thing you want to sit there and think about is, where in the body do you feel the jasmine? Not that you're smelling the jasmine, where do you feel it? Like I feel like it's a nice little blanket kind of wrapped around me like a hug. How would jasmine move or dance? Would it be ballet? Would it be modern dance? Would it be slam dancing in a mosh pit? I feel like it's more on kin of like on par with like ballet or something very elegant, goth dancing. Yes, because as I move my hands around, you can tell former goth. Well, I still. So now, once you're done with this exercise, and you can repeat this as many times as you want to connect with different aromas to see what comes up for you, because once you pull up peppermint, you might have an entirely different array of things come up for you. Or once you come up with something that, especially if you pull up something you know you don't like I cannot stand black pepper. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the taste of it. Because to me, black pepper, I think I'm actually mildly allergic to it on the taste front. So like, because it'll make my lips and my tongue like kind of sore and swollen. So I kind of avoid it. But to me, when black pepper is in something, that's all I taste. If you put black pepper in a steak, I no longer taste the steak. I taste black pepper. And why don't I like black pepper? The only thing I can transfer to is biting into a peppercorn when I was a small child, and you know, it just being awful. And I didn't like the taste. It burned, it stung, and I couldn't get rid of it, and I didn't know what to do about it because I was, maybe 6 or 7 or something. And then one time I remember when I worked in like CVS, someone dropped a glass bottle of black pepper on the floor, and just that the amount that smelled all at once, like almost made me throw up. But I had such a visceral reaction to it because I think it was drawing back to that early childhood. This thing is like bad and it causes me pain and suffering. So I don't like this. And I think it's something that grew into my psyche that I just do not like. Whether it be taste buds or allergies. So sometimes when people say they're allergic to something, it might actually be a trauma response. Like the person with the citrus thing that my perfuming professor was talking about, that was a trauma response. That wasn't an allergy. That wasn't just, I don't like the smell of citrus fruits. It was a visceral response related to a memory. So sitting there and thinking about this, and once you're done with each exercise, like I said, don't forget your If you want to cleanse your palate in between some coffee beans or coffee grounds is great for that. Or, you know, you can wait a little bit of time. So you want to ground back, you know, coming back down from that space of really hyper focus on what the aroma was and what it smelled like and what your experiences with it were. And you want to, you know, reflect on what you noted that came up. Maybe you want to make a journal of this. I think for the exercise that I had to do when I was in perfume school, I think I had to do this with like 20 some different aromas. And then I also had to do another one with different perfume samples. But it actually taught me really how to write about aroma, because it's hard to really describe, like, because especially for the perfuming stuff that I do, it's hard to describe, especially when you're selling things online, what this is going to smell like accurately. So not everyone, like, it, you know, if I tell you exactly what's in it, well, there might be something you're like, well, I know what patchouli smells like, but I don't know what agarwood smells like. So that's just a little bit on that. So, and this is also going to help you build some of your clair skills around clairalience, which has to do with the nose. So it's probably a very rudimentary explanation of clairalience, but so not only are you learning to incorporate scent in your into your shadow work, but you're also building your intuitive and psychic skills around that as well. So clairalience, roughly, I wanted to get a better definition of it for you because I don't think I was doing it justice, this is the ability for someone to acquire psychic knowledge by means of smelling. And this also would go into clairgustance as well, which is the taste version of it. So most people think of seeing, hearing, and stuff when they think of clair, sensing when they think of clairs, but they don't necessarily think of like scent and taste as well. So again, these things maybe might not help you or you might not think would help you in your spirit work, or as you're connecting to your craft in a more and the natural world and how all these energies work together. But learning those skills are really, I highly recommend them anyways. So, oh, and I actually remembered to talk about the super smeller part of it. So a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, probably about maybe 15 or so years ago, I used to get terrible sinus infections and have and really have very bad allergies. I would get a sinus infection, take antibiotics, and as soon as I was done taking the antibiotics, I would get the sinus infection back. And I was just chronically sick with sinus stuff for, so it's like maybe 2006 through 2008. Like I lived in the suburbs, so I was allergic to a lot of like the ragweed and pollen and stuff like that. Actually, I'm technically allergic to the suburbs, apparently. But I was just having all these things. So I went to an ENT, and they'd done 2 different procedures on me. One of which turbinoid something, not ectomy, because that would be the removal of, but I don't know what they did, but they like go up into your sinuses. They did some kind of like injection thing that would open up your I don't remember the word, sinuses. So that was the first part of it. And then in like spring 2008, I went in I had sinus surgery. I also have a deviated septum. They originally were going to do the whole, like, we're going to break your nose, resect it, and put it back to, they didn't end up doing that, but they opened up my sinus cavities better. I have not had any issues with chronic sinus infections, or every once in a while my allergies will bother me, but I pop a Claritin and it goes away. I haven't had any problems with that since 2008. And this was just a chronic thing. Like I was just constantly sick. So the result of this, and also as a sidebar, sinus surgery, this is also the sidebar to the sidebar. I have not thrown up since 2008. I'm holding out for the 20-year mark. I've only got 5 more years to go. So hey, but it's 15 years. So I feel like I get like a coin or a chip or something for that. Cookie maybe. Knock on wood. Yeah. I have not thrown up in 15 years. Makes me special. Don't you feel better knowing that about me? But anyways, they also, like, after the surgery, they put a lot of packing up in your sinuses because they and you're not allowed to sneeze. The throwing up part was bad enough, but so you're not allowed to sneeze for like 2 weeks while you've got stuff shoved up your nose after having surgery, which is a really complicated thing. But I have to tell you though, after the ENT pulled that packing out of my nose, I literally had a sneeze-gasm. I was like, oh, I need a cigarette after this. It was like a pent-up 2 weeks worth of sneezes all came out at once, and it was amazing. But what I noticed after this is that my sense of smell became so heightened, and that is a good thing and a bad thing. It makes me awesome at my job. It sometimes makes me a complete a-hole because I've literally been on like well, I'm in Philadelphia, so I've literally been on SEPTA bus. SEPTA is our regional transportation. I've literally had to get off the bus blocks before where I was going because people smelled so bad. There's certain smells that literally offend me to the point of like if your body odor is that bad, it will actually make me really angry and hostile. Like I've had or like nauseous because it is so strong and pungent to me, more so than it would be to anyone. And I've literally sat on the bus holding my nose or wrapping a scarf around my face because something smelled so bad. But for creating super awesome perfumes and smelling things, it's a bonus. But be careful. It's one of those be careful what you wish for things. It's interesting to know because like things when they smell really good are like heavenly, and if they are not good smelling, they are really not good smelling because everything is just amplified so much for me in that sense. And then also add into my neurospicy sensory processing issues and because everything for me is kind of it's random. It's either really dulled or like really hypersensitive. And I think for me, most of the stuff is like hypersensitive. Like certain sounds. There's always been a long-standing joke in my household of if you leave the exhaust fan on in the bathroom too long, you leave it in a body bag. That sound, just like I find mild, like exhaust fan sounds are mildly enraging to me. That and subwoofer bass on cars. I live in the hood, so like people are always like parked on the street with the subwoofer bass going, and it's the strangest sound. And I know I'm on some weird ass tangent here, but it's like the weirdest sound because the closer you get to it, the more palatable, the more tolerable it is. The further away from you are, the more you feel like your head is going to explode. Very, very odd. And the acoustics are weird because often I'll hear something so loud that it sounds like the person is parked in front of my house, and I will go look outside and I can't see anyone in any direction on my block. So yes, sensory processing, it's fun. But anyways, random tangents aside, I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. This exercise, I'm going to try to bring more of this kind of some of the little ins and outs of what I do because this is important to what learning these things and learning how to connect and sense energy with aroma is going to help you immensely in the work that you're doing. I mean, most rituals are going to include some sensory, whether you're burning incense, whether you're making an offering of herbs, whether you're have oils that have fragrances to them or something like that, or making a perfume offering. It's really going to help you connect with that spirit. And also sometimes like for me, my work with Lucifer usually involves like roses. So I know like if I see roses or start smelling roses, it's kind of an indicator of that. So anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and pardon the mess of my kitchen work area. It's a very active work area, so it does not stay clean for very long. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Love y'all.